So if we think about that 4% and how we shape our current experience, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of how that works and then how you can actually influence that a little bit yourself day to day. So all of us, every single moment, are taking in lots and lots of information from the outside world. And we take that in through our senses, through what we can hear, we can smell, we can feel, etc. Lots and lots of information. And in fact, every second, you've got 2 million bits of information hitting your senses. Now, that is far too much information for you to be consciously aware of and working with. So what happens is that we actually filter out a large proportion of that information so we have a more manageable amount. And the part of us that actually gets rid of that is something called the reticular activating system, which is here. It's the bottom of your base of your skull. And what it does is it essentially filters. And it has a whole bunch of filters in place that it uses, which you can see here on the screen. Lots and lots of different factors. It'll dive into your memories, into the language, to meta programs, which we're going to come into a little bit later, and those deep-seated values, beliefs, attitudes that you hold. But essentially, the reticular activating system will show you what it believes is important to you. And that falls into 2 categories. The first one is anything that it needs to keep you safe. So if you're about to cross a road, it's going to ensure that you can obviously hear cars, that you can see cars, etc. And the other thing is what you focus on. And this is where the real power is, because anything you focus on, it believes is important and it will show you more of. And that's why when we go out and we buy a new car, we suddenly drive around and see that car absolutely everywhere we go, even though there isn't any more of those cars on the road at that time. So once it's filtered those 2 million bits of information that are coming into you every single second, it's actually only 134 bits that are getting through to you consciously. And these are the bits that are creating the experience that you're having right now. So what happens is that they actually create our internal representation, which is basically where we create meaning to what we have taken in. From that, we create our state, which is where we create our emotions. And then that goes on to affect our physiology. But what's really interesting is this isn't a linear process. So you've actually got control around these areas. So I'm sure some of you have seen those TED Talks that talk about, power poses and how you can change your physiology and then you can change your emotional state going into a meeting or to a presentation. And equally, you can change your emotion and you can also change your physiology. I was in Peru about 1.5 years ago, and I was in Pisac, this beautiful little town in the Sacred Valley, and I was sat in this restaurant having a carrot and coriander soup, and this woman sat down next to me and ordered the same thing, and we started to talk, and she was from Germany, and she was, through the conversation, it came out 72 years of age, and she had the most amazing skin I've ever seen. And I said to her, I just don't believe you're 72, you've got the most amazing skin. And she said, I've got some advice for you. She said, you have to feel all the feelings. She said, when you want to scream, you need to scream. When you want to cry, you need to cry. And when you want to laugh, you want to laugh. And then she went on to tell me something about some Nivea cream as well. But it's actually really important because emotions only stay in our body for 90 seconds. If they're staying longer, it's because we're choosing to engage in memories, or we're starting to fantasize and dream about the future. But if we actually sit with an emotion, it will pass through us in 90 seconds. So you've actually got control to sit and allow those to go through and to also play with your physiology, all of which will shape the experience that you've got. But of course, the real power comes with how do you actually influence that 134 bits of information which you're working with and which you're aware of. So how do we do that?